Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Rangers. Today is Friday, November 15th. This is episode 45 of the Talking Rangers podcast. Another week in the books. I think this was this week 4? I think it was week 4. We're coming up here on week 5,
Week
if I
5. No,
believe.
no, this was
Week
week
5.
5.
This was week 5. Now we're moving on
Yeah.
to week 6. Another bumpy week here for the Rangers since the last time we spoke. While they did go 2-1 with wins over the Red Wings and the Sharks last night. They did have that loss to the Jets, which was pretty ugly. Still some guys that are not playing well at all, despite, winning 2 of their last 3. Currently sit here 10-4-1 on the season, and are kind of, win, lose, just kind of rotating at this moment. Not great hockey. I mean, last night, beating the Sharks is, it's a win's a win, but nothing to really be super static about. Still a lot of concerns with this team, which will break down all of those in today's episode. We'll also take a look at some positives. But Joe, we are 15 games in. Rangers are at 10 wins, and there still are some struggles, but I guess the bright side is they've still got 10 wins, so it could be a lot worse. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they've been okay. I mean, I don't know. It's been, like you said, a few guys here and there that have been downright awful, like horrendously bad. But I guess, finding ways to win through bad times is, I guess, a good sign if you want to, take anything good out of it. But still a lot of concerning parts of their game, especially these individual players that are not playing very well. But, their record's not bad. You take it for how it is, but obviously a lot of places that they need to be better.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll get to some of the individual performances that haven't been good enough, continue to struggle. Mika, we'll get to Chytil Miller and all that stuff. We will start here, though, with the Filip injury news, which is really rough to see. Collided with Chytil Miller in the Sharks game, and it's just so you feel for him again here. A guy that's been healthy this season, has looked really good on that third line. One of the only lines, if you can make the case that if that third line was not playing as well as they have been, this would be a team that would be far from a 10-4-1 team right now. And the struggles from some of these top guys like Mika and guys like that would be much more under the microscope. But Filip going down was rough to see. And now we kind of wait. The Rangers, I'm sure Lavalette will speak tomorrow with practice prior to Sunday night's game against the Kraken, before they travel out to Seattle and then a Canada trip. But what was your thoughts on the Chytil injury news and kind of right now waiting to hear how severe it is? A win that was kind of overshadowed by this injury.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he's been the best part of the team. At least 5-on-5 as a skater. I mean, you can argue Igor, I think, probably has been the best overall player, but definitely the best forward at 5-on-5. I mean, he's flying. He's got good hands. He's able to skate through the zone off the rush. He's a little snake bitten at times where he couldn't, score a goal or get a point here and there. Kind of what we were saying about Lafreniere last year, but he's definitely someone that can kind of just create his own offense. And last year we saw what this team looked like without him. So it's gonna be it'd be rough if they lose it for an extended period or who knows, maybe the whole season. I mean, obviously you could speculate, but it's pretty much definitely a concussion if it is something with his head. But we'll see how it is. But yeah, it's concerning. Obviously, not only for the Rangers but for him and his health, because he's had multiple concussions now. Missed all of last year due to it. But it just sucks for both parties. Like I said, if as a Rangers fan, it sucks because he's probably one of their best players, and you really need him for that depth. And just as a human, I guess, obviously it's concerning if you keep getting concussions, and as sports keep kind of going into CTE, more studying with brain injuries, it's kind of scary for these guys. But we'll see what happens. Got to hope for the best. But if they do lose him for any extended period, they're screwed.
Yeah, and you make a good point there. Yeah, there's a hockey
No, I have
aspect
no
to it.
faith. I have no faith in
No,
this team.
yeah. And there's a hockey aspect to it, of course, and that's unfortunately affecting the Rangers if he does miss a period of time. That third line's been so good. They've
Johnny
outscored.
Brodzinski.
It's yeah, throw
Oh
them
my
in there,
god,
throw them into the flame.
he is.
They've outscored their opponents 5-on-5 play this year. Third line 11-0, so they've been great this year, especially 5-on-5 driving the play. We know what Chytil can do, getting to the net, all those good things, and then of course the human aspect is, yeah, I mean, it's another concussion, a guy that missed pretty much all of last season, came back, didn't look like himself, as we all know, in the playoffs, and has completely looked back to normal here through the first 15 games of the season. And last night was rough. So Laviette said that it was day to day. Again, we'll hear from him tomorrow. You'll probably know more in the next 24 to 48 hours here. But yeah, you miss him an extended period of time. There's already issues on this team with him. As good as the third line has played, there's still problems with this team. You remove one of these guys on the third line, especially a guy like Chytil, that's kind of the catalyst, and now you're really kind of scrambling, especially if it's a game or two, it's not the end of the world. But if this is something that's multiple games, worst case scenario, months, that's where you kind of enter the, like, oh crap, this could really kind of tank things for this team, which right now they're just kind of like they're treading water right now. That's kind of the way I see it. But I mean, I guess that sort of segues into our next point. We've talked about these two guys, mainly one of them more than the other, but it's the same struggles. And that's with Keandre Miller and Mika Zibanejad. I know Mika scored last night, the 5-on-5 goal. Great. He's got 3 goals now. Excellent. Like, this doesn't really mean a whole lot. But the Keandre Miller stuff continues to be, I think even maybe, I guess I'll ask you, what's more alarming, you feel? Mika having these struggles over the last really year and a half, because he started last year fine and then went through that drought and hasn't been the same since.
He actually wasn't good
Miller,
last year at the beginning of
he
the year.
wasn't good
Remember,
last year, but
he went
he
like 10
got
games without a
worse as the
goal.
year went on.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and he went, what, December to March without a 5-on-5 goal?
yeah,
Uh, it was really the middle to the end, though, where he was like awful, where he was non-existent.
yeah.
Uh, he wasn't great in the beginning, but he wasn't as bad as he was towards the December to March range, where you didn't even notice him on the ice. But I guess, like, what's more alarming to you, the Miller regression over the last really 2 seasons, and then, or the Mika regression, where was one of the top players on this team, one of the core members of this team, a guy that you've got to rely on ideally if you're going to bring a Stanley Cup back to this organization. It's going to run through guys like Mika, Panarin, and all this core we talk about all the time. But both these guys both are very alarming. But what do you feel is more alarming?
I'd say Mika just because of what we've seen out of him as far as like his top of his game. Like we've seen what he can be, and we've seen it for pretty consistently. Like not as good as it was for that short like couple months or two in 2019, but we've seen what he is, and he's like that number one center on your team, or should be.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's got to be the more weakening part, is if you have that guy, the number one center, struggling, as opposed to like, I don't know, mid, borderline top five. I guess like trying to be like top 4 defenseman, but yeah, definitely Mika. But I mean, Miller hasn't been like to a point where I've kind of been like, okay, he's going to be really good. Where I've seen flashes out of Mika, like we've said, that he looks really good, the driving play, one of the best scorers in the league. But again, I guess Miller's a little bit younger, so maybe you can wait a little bit longer on him. But for now, with this team, how it's built, definitely Mika.
Yeah, I agree. He's a win now player. He's got to be a guy that's win now. Miller's still developing in year 5, I guess, but they're both alarming. I mean, really, Mika was, like you just said, one of the catalysts for this team at center, and now the last 2 seasons has completely fallen off. Only 26 goals last year, 3 goals so far this season, one of them being an empty netter. And then Miller's really alarming because he had a really good campaign 2 years ago. Last year wasn't very good. And I know we talked about it off air, but you've progressively seen the plus minus for Miller drop as well. Not only have you seen some of the offensive ability drop, you've also seen just defensively he hasn't been good. Was a plus 23 in 2021, 2022, was plus 12 in 22, 23, plus 5 last year, minus 4 this year. and he's got 2 points. He hasn't had a point in 10
Yeah,
games.
and then
So
we were saying that one point was the flukiest goal of all
yeah,
time against
yeah,
Utah, and then the other one
yep.
was a
And then
secondary
the other
assist
one
on the
was
second
on an
empty net of
empty
the
net.
game.
Yeah,
The second empty
exactly.
net.
Yep. So he hasn't done anything really offensively,
Yeah.
and defensively is
Oh my
terrible.
god,
I
he's
mean, the
been awful.
Winnipeg game was awful.
Him and
Uh,
Zibanejad were
yeah,
like prime Dwayne Wade and LeBron, but like trying to make us lose that
yeah,
game.
and that's the annoying part too. Is there's no more defending either of Miller or Mika. Like Mika, everybody always talked about him. We just said it last episode, but oh, he's good defensively. Well, his defense
He's been
hasn't been there
terrible.
this
Oh
year.
my god, three goals.
Yeah,
The Jets
and in the
just
Miller, he couldn't clear the puck, and it was a 2-on-0 right in front of the net, and Miller was on the ice.
he's so
It was
bad.
down, like it was terrible. They got destroyed against Winnipeg. Winnipeg clearly just much more focused, much more just they were 10 times better than the Rangers in that game. And then of course the Sabres game was awful. They didn't even show up. But defensively they've got a lot of problems. Him and Lindgren are both major issues. Now you look at, Zach Jones has done some good things. Schneider has, but man,
Lindgren sucks.
Lindgren's terrible.
He's so bad.
Now I've seen this on
he's
oh,
washed.
you can go. Oh, Lindgren, yeah.
Yeah, you can continue, but just saying he's washed.
Lindgren's been awful. Would you trade Miller?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not giving him a pay. You're going to see a way different defensive core next year.
Yeah.
Trouba's going to be gone.
Lindgren.
Miller's going to be gone. Lindgren's going to be gone.
Yep.
Miller, I think I'd wait until the offseason because you still have his rights because he is a free agent, but he's an RFA.
Yeah.
Lindgren, I get rid of as soon as possible. Like I don't care. Get rid of him. And then who was the other guy? Trouba. They're going to get rid of him in the offseason by a buyout, more likely than not. But I feel like he hasn't been as bad as like the Trouba thing. I feel like people aren't talking about as much because there's not really high expectations for him, and he's playing okay. Where Miller is high expectations, playing awful. Lindgren, you just can't skate anymore. So I don't know. I would definitely obviously trade both of them. Like I said, Miller more so in the offseason, but. I mean, I guess Fox can kind of cover up for how bad he is, where people when he's playing with Fox, Miller, he's actually pretty good, because he's playing with Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Miller and Trouba. Oh my God.
They're still a pair, kind of.
Yeah.
They've been floating that around.
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of sticking with Jones and Schneider, and
Jones and Schneider down, and they're flipping Lindgren and Miller. Yeah.
The two worst defensemen on the team.
They're flipping the two worst defensemen with basically Fox. Get some time with Fox and then move back down with Trouba, which is terrible. And then Zach Jones and Snyder have been good. And those are some positives that we'll get to here in a second. And I like Zach Jones a lot.
You know what? I still would say Miller or Zibanejad where it's more disappointing, but it's just like the development of Miller, it doesn't make any sense to me how he's not one of the best defensemen in the league. He's strong. He's super lanky. He's tall. He's got great speed. How is he not a great offensive 5-on-5? 5-on-5, he should be dominating.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, especially what we saw from him in his first 2 years, where you saw a lot of really good things. And then now gradually the last 2 seasons and then going into this year, you've kind of seen really last year and this year, you've seen a drop off in year 5, which is not what you want to see in year 5. You're supposed to see him kind of at his peak right now, entering the prime. I still think a lot of what Miller is in.
How old is he?
I've said this a lot.
24?
Who, Miller?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah. I think he's 25 in January. I think he's 25 midway through this year. He'll be 25, I think, when the year ends. But 24 right now. I think the big thing with Miller is he feels like a lot of times he just relies, and I say this a lot, but relies too much on the athleticism, his natural ability, rather than actually focusing on technique and stuff like that. That's why sometimes you've seen a drop off in offensive production. He struggles against the rush, whatever the heck he was trying to do Tuesday night against the Jets. That was pathetic. So I think that's part of it. He relies too much on his natural ability as opposed to anything else. And he finds himself in really difficult situations. He puts himself in really bad situations. And that's why he's disappeared offensively and has been awful defensively. And they've got to, and again, here we are talking about this. All kind of goes back to the Igor thing. He's got no help in front of him. Once again, no help. I mean, you can't. I have no faith in this defensive core against a really good team in the playoffs showing up without Igor having to stand on his head. I mean, we've seen Jonathan Quick already this year have to stand on his head. And when they don't stand on their head, like Winnipeg or Buffalo, they don't win. That's where we are. And it goes into the whole Igor conversation is, do you pay him? Do you don't pay him?
No.
You don't pay him because then you allocate money elsewhere, or else you're going to find yourself in this situation where these guys are going to be leaving. If you bring back Igor, who the heck are going to be your defensemen in 2025, 2026?
Team's not good enough, even with Igor.
No, they're not. And we've seen that so far. I think that's been, I mean, Igor's played well, but I think this year has been very hurtful in a way to Igor's contract because while he's playing well, the team around him is playing probably as bad as they've played now, and at least under Laviolette, they're definitely worse than last year.
Dude, like it would be so frustrating if like they get to a point where it's just like Igor.
They're gonna pay Igor. I believe that they're gonna pay him,
and it's gonna get to a point where like the team isn't good, and he's just carrying them into the first round, and then they get killed.
Yeah, what this year or next year?
No, I think they have a couple more years of this team. I think. But eventually, I'm saying there's going to be parts of that contract where this team's terrible, and they just have too much money into him, and he's just going like the max, like the ceiling is first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I totally agree. That could even be this year if this team doesn't. If this team doesn't get better,
first round, get rid of everyone.
God, imagine if you get knocked out and then they
pay him
again. Pay him.
They
Do you think Laviolette is out after this year if
Coach Pete?
They get Coach Peter if they get bounced in the first round?
Probably.
Is it a Gerard Gallant all over again?
Well, no, Gerard Gallant only last 1 year.
Yeah, it was Eastern Conference Finals in the first round.
Oh shit, this is his second year. I thought this was his third year. Oh my god.
Last year was, it would be the same thing. It's going to be turned into a cycle now.
It's going to be 2 years. Conference, Game 6 of conference final, first round exit.
Game 7, first round.
Game 7.
Yeah, got to get there.
We're going to blow a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can just see that happening already.
I agree. I don't have much faith. And look, well, we said it last week, right? These are first world problems. I'm sure there's a lot of fan bases that would rather be the Rangers right now, but when you haven't won a cup since 1994 and you continue to get bounced in the playoffs the same way every single year, and you've come out this year with, and I guess we should be honest, we did expect this regular season to be tough. This was not going to be President's Trophy last year where they pretty much every night they were just winning so much.
I said, I don't know if you said too, but I thought they would come out even worse than this, and they've been better than.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I thought so too. I think both of us, we kind of expected them to come out slow. They came out fast, and now they're slowing down. They were 5-0-1, I think, after that. Ever since that Canadiens game, they've been basically like a 500 hockey team since that point. Yeah. They were 5-0-1. Now they're 5-4 since that point. So they're basically playing 500 hockey over the last pretty much 10. And so they came out hot like right away. Now they've slowed down.
Most of the games they get outplayed in too. Even the
100%.
They shouldn't have. Senators game, the Ducks game.
Ducks game, yep. Even that Red Wings game, they won 4-0. That wasn't their cleanest game. Quick
even last
foot
night,
on his head, and the Red Wings didn't
last
play.
Last night, there was a lot of portions of that game where it's like, the Sharks played a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean the Sharks scored 3 minutes in, less than 3 minutes in. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, "Where's?" When they didn't score the rest of that first period, and it took them a little bit. I think the Mika goal was over halfway through the second period.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think 2 minutes later, you got VZ. They had 3 goals in a span of 5 minutes. Before that Mika goal, you were halfway through that third period. You're thinking to myself, this team's going to go down 1-0 into the third period against the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was brutal. And Chytil doesn't come out for the third period, which made things worse. But anyway.
Yeah, Miller,
I guess positives.
As soft as Miller is, he lays out Chytil.
Yeah. I saw a clip of on Twitter today. It was the Trouba hit in Game 6 against the Florida Panthers. It was like Miller when he sees Chytil. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It's the hardest hit Miller's laid all year, and it's on his own team. I guess a positive. Well, there's been a couple positives, under the radar positives. Zach Jones been good. Braden Snyder, just as we talked about, top two defensive pairs. There's been some problems, mainly because of 75% of them aren't good. Truba, Lindgren, and Miller. Fox is, but the other three aren't. Or I guess not that Truba's bad, but he's not like, I wouldn't say he's very good. He's kind of what.
Expectations are not as high for him. So
Yeah, he's kind of right where we expected him to be.
yeah,
I mean, he shouldn't even be on this team right now, but that's a different story for another day. We've already talked about that. But Zach Jones, Braden Snyder look really good. And Jimmy Veazey's back. And
himbo.
he's already got what Veazey's gonna be. He's gonna be he's already got 2 goals in 3 games. He's gonna be chasing down Mika soon.
He already is. He got
Isn't that
one less goal
crazy?
than him.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, he's gonna surpass Mika.
Is there
And
a
he's
world
gonna
where he scores more
Veazey
goals
ends
than
up with
Mika?
more goals than Mika.
No, right?
I mean, at this rate, no, probably not. Mika
It's
would
play
have to
power play.
just suck. Mika's gonna have. We know how Mika. He scores in bunches. He's gonna have a couple games this year where he'll score 2 goals.
He still hasn't
He'll
scored
have
in
a,
power play.
no, he hasn't. But there will be a stretch of games this season where Mika, like over a 5-game stretch, he'll have like 4 goals or 5 goals. That always
I'm waiting
happens.
for that.
Yeah, it'll happen maybe February. It'll happen. It'll happen at some point. He'll hit 20.
You,
VZ,
you know what? You know Danny bet 39.5 on him at the beginning of the season.
what over?
Yeah,
Jeez, why would he do that?
it's like, bro, you're throwing away
What
money.
he thought it was like a redemption season.
He's not even going to score 20 goals. He might. That's crazy that we're saying he might score 20 goals.
Who? Mika?
Mika.
Yeah.
Him and VC scoring 20.
Him and VC is scoring 20. He's looked good. He's looked really good. Imagine if Rempe ends up with
No,
like
Rempe probably won't
Rempe
play
is-
again unless Chytil's out for a while. Because I know they won't make a trade or anything. They'll probably just bump in Bradzinski and then Rempe will be the extra forward.
Yeah. But VZ's look good. What are your thoughts on Zach Jones?
Yeah, I think he's playing solid. I feel like, he's
Yeah.
a little bit small, so sometimes he gets beaten up a little as far as like, when like defending like the forecheck or trying to make like outlet passes. But I think he's been better. I think he's shown some signs where he's, aggressive offensively, where he's able to skate the puck up the ice, make like good headman passes. I think he's been good. He's been a bright spot of the defensive core. Him and Schneider both been good.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. 2 young guys too, kind of having some success, which is good. I've always liked Zach Jones. I think he does a lot of what this team needs defensively. Maybe like a future Truba replacement. He's kind of the opposite of Truba, which I think is good. But a puck moving defenseman, he's been good. Him, Fox, and Snyder, out of the 6 of them, 3 have been good. 3 have been, 2 have been really bad. 1's been kind of meh, and that's Truba, which is kind of expected. And really the goalies. That's the other 2 that are playing well. I mean, I guess Panarin's kind of doing what we expected, but that's no real surprise.
Moss been pretty good too. Lafreniere.
Yeah, Lafreniere's been good. Trocheck hasn't been as good as last year. I wouldn't say he's been bad, but he hasn't been what he was last year, especially offensively. He's only had like 2 goals in the last 10 games, I think it is.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little. I mean,
Yeah.
He hasn't really done much in the power play. I mean, this team hasn't gotten a lot of power plays, but
No, they haven't.
I don't know. Feels like he should be good though. I have faith in Trocheck.
Yeah, especially that second line, they'll get it. I believe they'll get it figured out. Riley Smith.
I don't know. Made a nice move where he went like through his legs.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much it.
That's flashes of what Riley Smith can become.
He
We
can
know
put the puck
this.
through his legs.
Yeah, we know this. I believe a Riley Smith breakout's coming before a Mika breakout.
I think he's a good third line player, Riley Smith. But he's definitely not a top 6 forward.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. It's for
They don't have any top 6 forwards though.
no, they don't.
Besides the 3 guys in the first line, maybe Chytil and Cooley can turn into a top 6 forward. I don't think Kaka's going to be one. Zibanejad is not playing like one, and I never thought Kreider was one. I think he's just a good special teams player.
Yeah, I agree.
Doesn't really give you anything 5 and
And
5.
he's
I don't even
yeah,
think he's
net
got a 5 and
goblin.
point. He might have like 1 5 and 5 points this year.
I'm telling
First
you.
starter.
I'm telling you. This to me, where we are right now, it's would you not playing well enough? Do they go out and trade for this is the perfect opportunity, Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby's not getting traded. They said he wasn't going to get traded.
I know, but I
They
feel
said
bad.
everybody else.
I don't feel bad for him, but my God.
They said
He's in
everybody
like
else. Imagine they traded the whole
he's in like
core.
he's in like the hockey basement right now with that
Well,
team.
it's kind of on him though. He wanted to resign.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like
There's
they're going to get rid of
there's nothing
Letang.
else. Yeah.
They're going to get rid of Malkin. I don't think they can trade Carlson just because his contract's so bad.
Oh, that contract's brutal.
He's on a good contract too. Like Crosby, like only 8.7 million for him.
Well traded. Hey,
Zibanejad for Crosby straight up.
I take it. Telling you, Spark, go all in. Zibanejad sucks. Bringing Sid the Kid.
Well, I just don't know
Bring them all
how.
back.
The thing
Drink
is, like, it
Kane.
depends. Like, if Chytil's okay, right? At least by the deadline, they probably don't add a center. They
No.
probably go after some like Jack Roslovic esque. Well, I
Oh,
think he's actually having a good year, but someone,
Rostovic's heat on a
yeah.
heater.
But I think
He's on a
someone
heater.
like
Yeah,
that, where it's like, oh, give a 4th round pick for like a flyer who can like we'll squeeze him in for his with
of
Zibanejad.
course. Yeah.
But then I don't know what happens with Riley Smith though.
I don't know.
Throw him on the 4th line, honestly.
That's what
Or
they'll do.
maybe
That's what the Rangers will do. They'll
they
trade
should.
for they're never going to go out and get the big fish. They're going to trade for one of these mid-tier guys, and that's it.
Well, the thing is, like, my thing is, I won't even consider like
They should have went all in
Tarasenko.
for Gensel, if we're being
Tarasenko and
honest.
Kane weren't big fish just because they're old. You know what I mean?
No,
They
yeah,
never
I agree.
they
They
never
were out of
get
the league.
guys like that can be
Gensel
pretty
would have been
good.
though.
Yeah, like a guy that's still really like kind of in his
Yeah,
prime on the market. They never
yeah.
go for those guys because they don't want to give up the assets and they don't want to
Nope,
pay them.
nope,
Whereas like
exactly.
Kane is old, Tarasenko's old, so you get him for like whatever it was, 30, 20
And they're
games, and then
yeah,
they're gone.
and they're stubborn to think that this core will eventually figure it out. When time in and time again, we've seen that that's probably not going to happen. Frankie Vitrano.
Maybe. I mean, I know he's a free agent, so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens with that. But I think I'd be okay with that.
I'd
If
be
they
on
have
board for Frankie V. It
unless like
depends on who else is available. It's tough to say right now in November.
I don't
We'll
even
know
know
more
who
once
would
the
even be
deadline
available. Like,
kind of rolls around.
let's see,
Um, but
NHL.
I'd be on board for Frankie V. I've always been a big. I like Frankie V last year, even though he had years left. But
Here,
he'd
so
be
here's some guys that are available.
he'd be on my
Forward,
board.
like we're not going for. Well,
What about
defenseman too. I
Zegras?
feel like
You big Zegras
defenseman
guy? I would.
definitely is a defenseman.
Yeah, they could. They could use a lot. If we're they out of all of these years, over the last couple of years with this core, this might be their most needy team in a way. Like this might be the team that needs the
Let's see,
most.
well,
They could
Mitch
probably use
Marner.
a defenseman, potentially another center, and a wing.
Maybe Mitch Marner is a free agent, but I
Maybe
don't see
Marner.
them trading him. I think he's going to resign. Rantanen, he's going to resign.
What about you're not a big Zegras guy, right?
Well, I don't think they're going to trade him.
No, I don't think so either.
And if
What
they do
about
it,
defensively? Cam Fowler? I think he's Anaheim.
is he UFA?
Um he's got
Zach
2 years.
Ekblad, they're not going to trade him. Provorov, I don't know how he's been defensively. Probably not very good. Didn't Chikrin just resign? Maybe not, but then I don't think the Capitals are going to trade Chikrin, right? I don't know. There's not really many good defensemen that are on expiring
No.
contracts. Let's see. 2026. Trouba is expiring. Shea
Oh
Weber.
yeah.
Didn't even know you could trade for Shea Weber. Ryan McDonough. Cam Fowler is available in 2026, so maybe you trade for him. You get a year and a half out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. The defensive market isn't great. They'll probably find, like I said, they'll find like some guy like Mika or something like that, where he's like
Yeah, they'll find some like
some
scrub.
average, yeah, that they think, oh, we love his expected goals against or whatever, or something like that. But
What about Van Riemsdyk? He's on a 1-year contract with Columbus, right?
I don't know. I'm not. That doesn't move.
No,
He's not
it's
better.
not a needle mover, but
He's not better than Riley Smith.
no, you're probably right. Yeah. Frankie V. I think they're going to get Frankie V this year.
Yeah, I don't know. How's he been this year?
I got it in fantasy.
He plays a lot of power play, so he must get a decent amount of goals and points.
I don't think he's been great, to be
No, he
honest.
hasn't been good. 6 goals in
No.
14 games. Let's see how many
He
of
hasn't
those.
been very good in fantasy, to be honest. I've been benching him recently.
5-5. He has 3 points.
He's got 6 points overall, right?
He's got 5 points at even strength, though. And then he's got 1 power play point. Power play assist. So he'd fit in right with our team.
Yeah. He would fit in, right? Yeah, you make a point. He would fit in perfectly with our team.
All right, here we can't really talk like the Mika.
I mean, I know it's in division, but 2 years. I mean, it's 2 years. That's not going to happen.
What, Crosby?
No, center Frost from Morgan Frost from Philly. He's got 2 years, I think. Another year after this.
So we can't really like.
Or no, I think this is it. He's got 1 year. It's
we
just
can't really start like the how many games or how many games he goes without scoring even strength or 5-5 because he just did. He hasn't got a power play goal. You think he gets one in November?
Mika power play goal in November.
Yeah.
I still think he's got to. I mean, they can't be. He's bad, but
Lafreniere's got 2. And
they've got Philly. They've got Philly Black Friday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to that game.
He's
got Philly. Nah, it's in Philly. He should score in that game, whether it be power play or whatever. That'll be the last. No, they had 2 more. They've got a lot of games left here in November. They play a lot coming up.
I mean, they hadn't played for a while, but don't they know they played like?
No, yeah. Recently, they've had a lot of days off, but the second half of November, they've got a lot of games.
Well, they're up in Canada, so they probably play every other night.
Yeah, they play every other night up there. Yep, they play every other night the rest of the way until Black Friday, and then the Saturday they've got back-to-back Philly, and then they're home against the Canadians.
That's
and
the
then they
first
play the
back-to-back.
Devils. Yeah, and then they play the Devils on that Monday. So then they have 3 of 4 to end. So yeah, they've got a lot of games. They've got what? 3, 6. They've got 9 games over the next 17 days.
They'll probably win half.
Lots of hockey. They probably will win half. Yeah, they'll win. They'll probably win half. You're right.
Laughing a lot less power play time.
They are now.
Has 2 power play goals. I don't like that. That's something that I don't get. Why he hasn't been moved down to the number 1 unit.
I agree. They won't. They don't. They don't want to hurt his feelings. Yeah, Carolina. They'll probably lose that Carolina game.
Don't they play the Devils?
They'll go 2-2 on the Canada trip.
Don't they play the Devils?
Yeah, they play the Devils first game of December. That's at home. Devils it feels like the Devils are starting to maybe get hot. They've back-to-back wins against Florida after getting shut out by San Jose. So they're starting to get going. And they got a long homestand. They got Montreal, Devils, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Blackhawks. They got a 5-game homestand. After that. Man, January they're home a ton. They got a lot of home games in January. And March. Well, no, not really. They've got 2 road trips in March and 1 homestand. But anyway, shall we do our goal picks since we're looking at the schedule?
Yeah.
All right. Seattle. I guess you can go first.
2 for I should have 2 for 3 last week, but obviously I tried to get cute, get 2 goals, but I have no idea. We'll go with why not? I'll say Mika's advantage, Ad.
I actually don't hate that. Mika against Seattle. I know I hate doing this, but I've picked them so much recently. And I might do it again. I'll go Panarin, Seattle.
The bread man, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a give me Panarin. Remember last year? What's that Seattle game last year where like the lights were off?
Yeah, that was awful.
They blew them out though. They had that crazy Canada trip last year. They went like 5-0. I think they swept it. Vancouver or the road trip because Seattle usually starts the Canada trip. The Vancouver.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I feel like Kreider. We'll go Kreider.
Kreider. I'm gonna go Vancouver. I'm gonna go Mika in Vancouver.
All right. Well, Mika Magic
Yeah, he's got to score one of these games.
gets a little hot out in DC.
Yeah, and then the Flames. Calgary.
I don't know why I feel like this guy's a lock to score against. Lafreniere's going to score against the Flames.
Yeah, it's probably right. Flames. I gotta go with like somebody safe because I just went Mika.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I kind of want to get.
Maybe him.
Dude, I don't even know. Nobody's playing like that well right now that I really don't trust any of these picks. Like nobody's hot right now.
Johnny Brazinski.
You think he's playing that game?
I
I'll
don't
go
know.
Will Cooley.
Will Cooley.
That's a terrible decision, but I'll go Will Cooley.
What do you mean? Why is it terrible?
It's not. I just don't think he's gonna score. But I'll go Cooley. It's not terrible. It's not. It's kind of risky.
Will Cooley's putting up a hat trick against the Flames now. You just doubted him.
I'll just take the 1 point and move on. So Panarin, Mika, Cooley. I like Panarin. Mika, I don't know. Cooley, I think it's okay. I think Cooley's all right. I'll go Cooley. I got to mix it up. The last like 3 times in a row, I've rotated between like Panarin, Kreider, and Lafreniere. So I had to switch it up. I got to start to make my comeback here. Down 6-3, like I got to start just like Mika. I got to start to heat up a little bit. And Mika, because Mika's heating up, I'm gonna start heating up because I picked Mika.
Mika's heating up. You're saying 1 goal for he's heating up or 1 goal.
It's 5-on-5. If we're being honest, if we're being really honest though, I think Mika. Mika will probably go 10 games because remember the last time he scored the 5-on-5 against Montreal and then he went now had the drought. So since he scored the 5-on-5 yesterday, he'll probably have a drought now. So we're both probably wrong. He probably won't score until he won't score until like that Philly game. I'm telling you.
God, that'd be insane. That's like what 2 weeks? That's 2 weeks from Friday.
Yeah.
Or from 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today. That's
fun fact.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I forgot.
I feel like the Rangers have barely played on Fridays this year because I feel like all of our episodes have been on Fridays
or Wednesday. They don't play on Wednesday either.
No, they play. They do this. They've been playing so many Tuesdays and Thursdays. They play like Monday. Yeah, it's either like a Monday, Thursday, Saturday, or like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Yeah. I don't think they've played on a Wednesday yet. Actually, no, I think it was
they must
night.
have. The first game must have been on Wednesday.
Opening night was Wednesday. I think that was it. I think that's the last time they played on a Wednesday. This week, same thing. It's Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Jeez.
Sunday games are brutal. I hate Sunday. I hate watching. Sunday.
Well, this one's at 9:00. All these games are annoying. They're all going to be on at 9. Well, except Vancouver and Edmonton are at 10. So
that game's on Saturday.
Edmonton's on Saturday. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
But
the Vancouver game Tuesday night, 10:00.
Is McDavid going to walk through the whole team?
That's a good point.
Listen, I think my ideal overtime against any team would be Zibanejad, Miller, and Lindgren.
Against the Oilers?
Yeah, against like McDavid, Bouchard, and Draisaitl.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll work. I'm sure that'll work real well. They get back to the cup. I think we should test that.
We should
All right.
just have Miller and Lindgren whenever McDavid's out.
Yeah, I say so. So, any closing thoughts?
Uh, just hopefully they get good news on Heedle, and
Yeah,
hopefully Miller and Zibanejad don't stink anymore.
I agree. Good news on Heedle, and get get rolling here. Let's get Mika rolling. Let's let that 5-on-5 goal be a start of like a why not like 3 goals in 3 games or something like that. Just something. We got to take baby steps. We
Gotta
can't
get
ask
hot.
for like a 5-goal tear in like 4 games.
Dude, he'll
Baby
be really
steps.
hot if he scores next game. 2 goals in the game, 2 back-to-back games with
Yeah,
goal.
back. That's a
Well,
goal streak, and then
well,
3 goals, another goal streak, and maybe a hat trick.
he'll
We
score like 7.
keep yeah, keep just going up the ranks. Like, all right, we got 1 goal now. Let's score another goal. That's 2 straight games, and then
Yeah.
let's score 2 goals in 1 game.
That's asking for way too much.
That's getting ambitious. But
How many
with the
guys
way
on the
these
team have done that this year?
2 goals in 1 game, I couldn't even tell you.
I think Heedle has.
Probably Panarin, maybe. Panarin's got to, right?
Yeah, didn't he score a hat trick against the
Yeah, he had a hat
Red
trick.
Wings?
He had yeah, it was one of the Detroit games. Yeah,
Maybe Kreider
I
scored
think he
two.
had, and I think he had. Didn't he have 2 in the Islanders game too?
I don't remember.
Maybe even the Utah game.
He might have had two in the Utah game.
I think he had 2 in the Island because I think he had the empty net, and then he had the power play. I think. And he had a power play goal against. I think he had an empty net against the Islanders. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but I believe he also had an empty net. I think he had 2 against the Islanders.
Yeah, so a couple guys.
So he's had a
Couple.
couple, yeah. But other than that, Mika certainly hasn't.
No.
Maybe it's coming. So that'll do it. We'll talk to you guys next week. And thanks for watching.